Hi everyone, my name is Morgan Vaughn, and today I will be presenting my health communications campaign, which is named Colleges Against Chew, to be approved for funding in today's board meeting. I will begin this presentation by explaining exactly what is Colleges Against Chew. Colleges Against Chew is a health communications campaign that I have designed that is focused on the journey of quitting smokeless tobacco use. The target audience I have chosen to focus on for this campaign is collegiate age baseball players because there is a high incidence of use in this population. And the campaign will be geographically focused in four-year universities in the state of Mississippi for the time being. When I began to research a target audience for my smokeless tobacco campaign, I ran across this survey that was conducted by the NCAA on substance use by college athletes. And they covered many drugs and alcohol, but they focused on smokeless tobacco on college age baseball players because that was the highest reported use. Like not alcohol, not illegal drugs, smokeless tobacco that they could walk down the street and buy from a convenience store. So I decided that this campaign would be useful in this target population because there was such an evident use. Now, you may be wondering why I chose to focus on smokeless tobacco use for my health communications campaign. I am currently a radiation therapist, and I see many patients present with cancers that are directly associated with smokeless tobacco use. Their treatments are one of the hardest treatments to get through because of the side effects associated with radiation therapy treatments of the head and neck. So if we can stop this behavior in a population that has not yet reaped the consequences of using smokeless tobacco, we may be able to cut down on the incidence of cancer associated with smokeless tobacco use. The top risk factor of squamous cell carcinoma of the head and neck is smokeless tobacco. I have included a photograph of a patient that had oral cavity cancer that was squamous cell carcinoma, which is a malignant cancer of the head and neck that quickly metastasizes throughout the body through lymph nodes and blood vessels of the head and neck. So that means it's not going to stay contained in the oral cavity for long. It usually spreads to the lungs, liver, wherever it can get and set up shop, it's going to go. Other health risks that are associated with smokeless tobacco use are pharynx cancer, pancreatic cancer, leukoplakia, which is a precancerous sore that presents as a white membrane on your oral cavity, nicotine dependence, and gum disease. So now that I have explained what Colleges Against Chew is, why I have chosen to pursue a health communications campaign like Colleges Against Chew, and who my target audience is, I'd like to go over the campaign objectives that I believe that will propel this campaign to the goal of stopping smokeless tobacco use in collegiate age baseball players. First, I would like to develop a zero tolerance policy for smokeless tobacco use for collegiate baseball players. How we would do this is go to the universities and present this campaign to the board of the college, to the dean if you would like, and the coaches of the baseball team to let them know that there should be a zero tolerance policy on the field and for practice. And if they are seen out in baseball regalia, they should not be promoting the use of smokeless tobacco by taking part. Second, I would elect a representative from each college in the program to represent Colleges Against Chew at university events. So each college in Mississippi that elects to be a part of Colleges Against Chew would have a representative This representative could be a coach, it could be a member of the team that has said that he would participate in Colleges Against You, that he would stand up against smokeless tobacco use, and they would represent the campaign at open houses or student orientations, or if a student body member wanted to set up a tent at a baseball game to let them know that this team does not promote the use of smokeless tobacco by baseball players. Third, I would conduct surveys of collegiate baseball players on smokeless tobacco use incidents. So we could survey the universities to see how many players on the team were using smokeless tobacco. I know the NCAA conducted a survey, but I would like to get in and see just in Mississippi what is the incident. Fourth, conduct a prevention seminar to include collegiate baseball teams. So what we could do here would find a previous collegiate baseball player that has already completed his journey of quitting smokeless tobacco and see how he could motivate the players. Could he come speak to the players? We could make a seminar to include the players that have pledged to quit smokeless tobacco, to let others know that they're not alone in this journey. Fifth, we could contact local stores in the college towns that sell smokeless tobacco, and we could ask them to include healthier alternatives to smokeless tobacco in their stores, like ground mint leaves. Sunflower seeds are commonly used by baseball players that are trying to quit smokeless tobacco. The ground mint leaves actually comes in a can similar to smokeless tobacco, and it is the same consistency, but instead of having nicotine and tobacco ground, it is just pure ground mint that gives the physical feeling of putting a dip of smokeless tobacco in, but it does not have the harmful side effects of smokeless tobacco. Now that we have gone over the campaign objectives, I would like to talk about how we can reach the target audience. We could have support groups on campus that meet after class or after practice. This can be led by a player on the team. It could be led by a representative from Colleges Against You or a coach. I believe that the coaches are excellent resources in this target population because they have such a trust with the players that if we educate the coaches, they can in turn take that information back to their players and explain it to them in a way that they can understand, because these coaches are with these kids day in and day out, practice, games, tryouts. They know these kids and they know who's using and who isn't, and they know the education level of these kids, where they grew up, where they came from. They know how to reach them the best. So we need to use the coaches to the best of our ability. A smartphone app would also be really useful because every college kid has an iPhone. They get on their apps all the time, all day long. So I believe that if we could create an app that had support group meetings on there, like where to meet, when to meet, information about smokeless tobacco use, risk factors, and how it affects your health. And we could also reach out to the players through social media. We could set up a group page on Facebook, on Twitter, Instagram that posted updates on the campaign. As we come to a close of my presentation, I just would like to reiterate the goal of Colleges Against You. That is to decrease the use of smokeless tobacco use among collegiate age baseball players in an effort to decrease the incidence of head and neck cancer and all the other harmful side effects associated with smokeless tobacco use. We're ultimately doing this to increase the health of this population. We do not want them to get cancer. We want to show them and educate them about the harmful side effects of smokeless tobacco use. It's not just a cool thing to do while you're on the baseball field. Like, it actually produces harmful side effects that will greatly diminish your quality of life in the future. Up next, I have a few questions to ask of you, like to help my campaign. So stay tuned. Lastly, I have a few questions that I believe would help develop my campaign. Number one, can this campaign be successful as it stands with the objectives and the goal and the suggestions that how we reach the target population? How could it be improved, or do you think it could be successful as is? Number two, should we consider another target audience for this campaign? Collegiate age baseball players are not the only population that is affected by smokeless tobacco use. Normally, when I get a patient in for treatment, they are not in college. They are older adults that have used for a long time. So could we shift this to another population, or should we stay focused just on the collegiate age baseball players? Number three, are there any other suggestions that you have for smokeless tobacco alternatives? I mentioned the ground mint leaves and the sunflower seeds. Other than quitting cold turkey, which is unlikely, which other suggestions do you have that could help these players in their journey? And number four, how could we better reach our target population? I mentioned using coaches and previous collegiate age baseball players and use of social media, support groups. How else could we reach them? How could we get through to them and break that boundary between us and them? How could we get in there and make a bond with these players and let them know that we are out for their best interest and not trying to just take away a fun activity that they do on the baseball field? That is the end of my campaign presentation. I hope that y'all enjoyed this presentation and that y'all were educated about Colleges Against Chew. Please let me know if you have any questions, and I will do my best to answer anything that you have. Thank you. I hope you have a nice night.